Okay, so thank you for joining me. My name is Fiona Wong. I am a certified professional coach, and I specialize in helping professionals navigate through their career transition by helping them find their own success formula. And what is a success formula, you might ask, is basically the right combination of actions and your internal insights that is going to effectively move you through your career transition. And the reason why I feel that is important to have is because there's so many tools out there and very great tools out there that can help you when you just do a quick Google search. You can find lists of things that you can do to find your clarity, to find career happiness, figure out how to steps to find a new jobs. But there's always something that is going to get in the way. And sometimes you don't know what it is. You just know that you're stuck. And that's where the internal insights comes in. And with that internal insight, it's going to help you to kind of move you through the obstacles that might get in your way. So the reason why I'm also so passionate about this is because I once was stuck in my career for over a decade. And the reason why I was stuck in my career for a decade is because I couldn't figure out what I want to do. I kept thinking, this really sucks because like it's not really. Sorry, one second. Julia just texted me asking me if my Zoom just crashed. So with that said, sorry about that. So what happens is that when I took a little sneak peek of my own success formula, I kind of went forward. I was able to move through things. And that got me curious. I'm like, how many times have I actually done this and missed out on opportunities because of me? So yeah, then I started seeing things and looking back in things. I'm like, crap. I'm like, I was the one holding myself back. And that's why even right now, I keep building on my own success formula, and I am still using it for my own career right now. So let's start with values. Where is career on your list of priorities, and how other priorities can actually impact your success? And after that, we'll be talking about inner blocks, how your inner blocks can actually hold you back, even if you have done every single thing right. And if we have time, we're going to talk about energy levels. We're going to discover what your default energy is, and you can choose whichever energy you would like to use for your journey. So let's start with prioritizing your values. Where is career on your priority list? And here are some examples of what values will look like to someone. There are different types of values. Yours will look different than mine. And it's important to write it down because as we grow, as our life goes on, our values changes, it shifts. We don't know it. It happens very slowly. And without revisiting it from time to time, things might be out of alignment. And that might actually be preventing you from moving forward with things. And so I would encourage you to write down, what your set of values are, and then prioritize them and see what is the most important to you, and prioritize it from 1 to 10, and then see how satisfied you are with every single one of them. Because if you're not satisfied with the higher priorities, it can actually prevent you from doing what you want to do, and you're going to use a lot more energy to try to get through it. That's why it's so important for you to know if there is something out of alignment. So let me give you an example. One of my peers, she wanted to grow her business. And during the summer, her family wanted to move. So for the 2 months of the summer, she was dedicating that to moving. So if you ladies or don't know about this, is that when you are moving, it is very stressful, especially when you have your day-to-day life to, to do. So yeah, she basically said, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to put my growing my business on hiatus, and I am going to um, I'm going to start moving, like packing and, moving and stuff. And after, when everything's settled, I'll just get back to it. But then everything was settled, and she still wasn't feeling motivated to get back into it. So when we were having a conversation, she discovered that two of her values were not being met. She wasn't doing them. And she was doing them prior to the move. But because of the move, she had also put that on hiatus. And she was feeling that because, again, she wasn't able to move on with her growing her business. And that was her spirituality and her self-care. She always wakes up early in the morning to meditate, and on the weekends she will work out. And because she has stopped doing that, she just felt like everything was not right. So when we asked a question, what did you do before that got you get going? She goes, of course, I did these two things. And after she restarted that, she was able to motivate herself and start doing work to grow her business again. So I truly do encourage you at the end of this today to write down a list of your values and prioritize them, and look at how satisfied you are of each and single one of them. Is there something missing in there that that you once thought was not important and it is now important? Next, we're going to move to inner blocks. Your inner blocks are your thoughts or feelings that are preventing you from accelerating or taking action with something you want to do. And we all have inner blocks. And when you're going through a transition, you're going to go through a roller coaster ride of feelings and thoughts. And here are the inner blocks: the fears, the assumptions, the interpretations, and limiting beliefs. These are going to appear at different times of your transition. And you can never get rid of them. It's the reason why they're here is because you're human. You've gone through life, you've experienced things, and you're not going to able to kind of say, oh, I don't ever want fear, because that's not going to happen. What you need to do is just be aware of them, and that's all you need to do, is to be aware and know how you can release them. So let's start with fear, because I feel like a lot of people have that. These are some of the thoughts that I had when I was going through my transition. I was too old to change careers. I would have to actually quit my full-time job to go back to school. And I was afraid of letting go of my established career and do something that I might actually fail at. So what is fear? Fear is an inner voice that tells you that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not qualified enough. And these emotions are real, especially when you are going through your transition. At the beginning, you're excited. You think, yeah, I can do this. You're excited that you're going to have a new career, and it's going to be something different. You're going to learn something. But sometimes when you get to the middle, where you're like, oh, I've applied for so many jobs and I haven't heard any responses, or I've went for interviews and I've been ghosted. And then you start, panicking, thinking that you're not good enough, you're not qualified enough. Maybe that's why, and maybe you shouldn't be switching careers. So what do you do when you have some kind of fear? You think of your worst case scenario. What is the worst that can happen to you? And then next, you will have to think about, how true do you think this worst case scenario is going to happen? For some people, just asking this question will be enough. Asking this question is going to help them realize, oh, it's only a 2. I'm like, then why am I wasting so much energy here? But for some, even ranking them to say, oh yeah, it's only a 2, but even 2 is really hard for them. to kind of let go. So this is where you create a solution for your worst case scenario. Find a solution for it, that the one that you can live with. And then you take the fear, you take the solution, you combine them together, put them in a box, put it at the back of the corner shelf where you don't need to think about it, where you don't need to get it until if your worst case scenario actually happens. And because you are wasting so much time focusing on this fear and you're not focusing on what you want to do. So I really encourage everybody, whenever you come, you recognize that you have a fear, try this method. Just try it to see how easy it is to release it, or if it's really hard to release it, then just sit with it for a while and then come back to it. Next, I want to introduce you to assumptions, and we all know what assume makes out of you and me. And what are assumptions? Assumptions are expecting something that has happened to you before will happen to you again in a similar situation. So one of my clients came to me. She was finishing her boot camp, and she said, I'm kind of, not sure. When I'm looking for a new job, I'm kind of scared that when I find one, I'm going to be asked to do things that I don't want to do. For example, buying birthday gifts for the people in the department, because in her previous job, that's what happened. And she said yes to it at the beginning because she wants to show her team, she wants to show her manager that she was a team player. And birthday after birthday, she was asked to do it, and then she became the designated person. And whenever she tried to say, you know what, I'm not able to do it this time, her manager will actually retaliate against her through actual work things. So she was really in a toxic environment. And so she was scared that when she was going to find a new job, that's what's going to happen to her again. So this is how I was able to get her out of the assumption mode, by asking her, what is one external difference between the two situations? So even the two situations are very similar. There are differences. So I asked her, are you going back to the same company? And she was not. So because she wasn't going back to the same company, I asked her to cut, then how do you know that the same thing is going to happen? She doesn't. Then I asked her, what is one internal thought and feeling that she had that was different from the first experience? And she said, well, this time I know for sure that I don't want to do it. 100% I don't want to do it. So it was great because once we recognized that it is something that she didn't want to do, we worked out a plan and created boundaries with what she would say, what she would do when she is asked to do ad hoc things that she doesn't want to do. And third, look at 3 months down the road to see if you're going to regret not doing it. And of course, in my client's, situation, that's a no-brainer. She's always going to, she's going to look for a job because she can't just be jobless. But for someone, let's just say you want to ask for a raise or you want to ask for a promotion, just because it happened before where you were denied, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen again. So think about 3 months down the road, are you going to regret not doing this? Now let's move on to interpretation. I talked about it a little bit earlier about how I got a little sneak peek of my own success formula, and this is where I got it. So interpretation is an opinion or judgment that you had created about a person, a place, an event, or situation. And for me, I said before, I was stuck in my career for 10 years, over 10 years. And one day I was talking to a friend and she's like, hey, why don't you look into coaching? It sounds like something that you want to do. And without skipping a beat, I said no. And the reason why I said it was because I had an image of what a coach was. I had an image that they are very pushy, they're overly optimistic and positive, and all they want to do is to push you to sell, push you to be not to sell. They're trying to sell you positivity. Be as positive as I am, and you are going to be able to achieve whatever you want. So for those of you who don't know me, I don't like selling. I just don't like selling. And I also am not overly positive. I'm not optimistic. I'm a realist. Like, I tell it how it is. I can tell you that you can do all the work and you're still not going to get what you want. That's just a reality. But of course, like, when I had this image in my head, of course I'm going to say no to my friend. But she said, Fiona, just Google it. That's no harm. And in that moment, I said, you know what? I don't know for sure that this is what a coach is. It's just what I thought a coach would be. I've never met one, never talked to one, never hired one. So I truly didn't know. So these 3 steps are the steps that you can overcome your interpretation of something. Think of a completely opposite view of what your current thought is. And also think of a third person perspective. And the third one is what I use is how do I know for a fact that this is true? So if I can make this I know statement, I know for a fact a coach is XYZ, then that is the truth. But if I can't, that means that is not the truth. And because when I thought in my head, like, you know what, I don't know, let me look into it. And when I looked into it, I was obviously very wrong of my impression of what a coach is. So that's when I said, I thought to myself, how many times have I said no to opportunities that presented itself to me? And I had this image of what the industry is like, or what the people are like. And I'm like, oh my God, I probably have said no to so many of these. And I could have, be in something different 10 years ago. So that's why it's important to recognize and be aware of your thoughts and understand sometimes there are ways that can help you release these kind of thoughts. Next, we're on the last one, which is limiting belief. It is a generalization or stereotype that you haven't personally experienced but accepted it to be true. So here are a few questions to ask when this happens. What makes the belief true to you? How is this belief affecting my current situation? And what would be different if I shifted my belief? So again, I came from a family that we didn't come from money or anything. So my parents really valued money. So when I was choosing, what profession to go into, they always told me, choose something that's diverse, that you can find a job that, different at different places. I'm like, okay, sure. And that stuck with me. So when I was trying to switch careers, that was what stuck in my head. Hey, Fiona, you need to look for something that's diverse, that you can actually, if you get fired, if you quit your job, you can easily pick up something else. As I kept saying no to these things, to different, suggestions, my friends said, oh, that's not diverse enough. No, like, that's too niche. I started thinking, how true is this really to me? Because my values are very different from my parents' values. Again, my parents' values are very important, like money is very important. However, for me, fulfillment is more important than money. So when I looked at it that way, I'm like, okay, well, even if it's something niche, as long as I'm good at it, I feel like I will be in a better position than be in a profession that I have no passion about, that I'm doing mediocre in, maybe, So that is how I talked myself out of this belief. And I totally do not believe that anymore, because my specialty is helping people with career transition by helping them find a success formula. And how many people actually need a success formula for a career transition? I'm not sure, but it is very niche. If you're not looking for a job, you might not be looking for me, right? But I'm okay with that because I like what I do. I feel amazing when I help others. So for me, this is the better way to go, is to like what I do, and doesn't matter about, if I can find a job, better job, or easier to find a job later on. Now we're moving to the energy levels. So you might ask, what are actually energy levels? They're basically the attitude that you use to go into your life, that you use on your everyday life. And your past experiences create a unique lens on how you see the world and what's happening to you. And your past experience creates a thought. And I'm going to show you this diagram that I did for you. It's very comprehensive, as you can see. The middle is you. You have a past experience. You have many past experiences. And your past experience creates a thought. And that thought triggers a feeling. And that feeling creates an action. And that action creates a result. That result becomes a past experience. So if you're doing something, I don't know if you guys have ever had a friend who's always dating the wrong person. And they keep saying to you, I don't know why I always get the wrong guy, or I don't know why I'm always getting, choosing the wrong girl. This is why. It's because their past experience creates some sort of thought and feeling and gives them a reaction that creates the same results. So how do you break this cycle? Why would you want to break this cycle? Because you want a different result. You don't want the same result. But how do you break it? Because your past is the past and you can't change it. And how you're going to change this is with your action. So your past creates a thought, triggers a feeling, and here you have a choice. You can choose to react. By reacting, you're literally going back to your past experience, thinking back of your past experience and react to it. Or you can choose to respond, thinking of what result that you want to have, and then choose a response that will give you that result. And with that, you're going to start creating new past experiences. And the more of these new experiences that you're going to get, the easier it is for you at the action part next time. You're going to be able to perhaps react to it and create the ideal results that you want. So I've been talking about these energy levels and, attitude, but what exactly are they? So you and I both have two types of energies. One is that you use during stressful times, and one that you use during optimal times, your everyday life. Again, your past creates these kind of views. However you act under stress is created by your past. However you act on your everyday life is created by your past. And it makes sense that you have two types of it, because you can't act if you're under stress, like a car is about to hit you. You're not going to act like everything's fine, right? So you do have two types of energy. And the types of energy, they're called catabolic energy, which are the ones that kind of tears you down, and anabolic energy, which is the ones that builds you up. And with these energies, like I said, you can pick and choose what you want to do as going into your career transition. And again, you're going to go through an array of emotions and thoughts. And with that, you are going to feel certain types of energy. And once you recognize that you're there, you can choose to stay there or choose something else to get you out of it. So let's start with energy level 1, which is a catabolic energy. And the core, I'm going to talk about the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions of all these, all 7 levels of energy that I'll be discussing today. And the core thought for level 1 is, I don't have a choice. Why is it happening to me again? Maybe I should have done this instead. and sorry, I can't see. I can never win. And this is a victim energy. And then the emotions that come out of it will be sadness, feeling trapped, indifferent, and apathy. And then your actions will be avoidance, unable to see options, and self-pity. I'm going to use looking for a job as an example for these energy levels. When, like I said before, when you first start looking for a job, yeah, this is so exciting, this is great. But sometimes if you haven't gone through a job search before, it could be drawn out. And after a while, when you start thinking, oh my, is it me? Then you could start worrying about, oh my, like, am I going to be able to find a job? It's been like 3 months. Like, then you start panicking and you're like, okay, I'm going to start spray and pray. I am going to apply everything under the sun. And if, one of those that apply wants to hire me, I'm just going to take it. I don't care if it's good for me or not. If that's what I want, I just want to make sure that I get a job. Now, if that's the energy that you want to go into with your job search, imagine when you get into that job 3-4 months down the road, you're probably not going to like it. You're probably going to think, oh, I don't know why I took this job. Well, I know why you took the job, because you were scared. You were worried that you can't find a job, and you're starting to panic and, grabbing anything that you can hold on to. So when you start feeling that, oh, I don't know why I took this job, and then you're going to start saying to yourself, why does this always happen to me? And going back to the really nice diagram I did for you, it's because of your actions. You reacted to how you normally would. But if you have thought of the results first, think, okay, I want to find a job that is appropriate for me, then you might have been able to dial back and say, okay, I shouldn't be as panicked, and perhaps be able to use a different type of energy to go into the job search. Next is another catabolic energy, and that's our level 2. And your core thoughts will be, I need to win, so you have to lose. My actions are justified. And for those of us who are in jobs, you might actually think, who the F screwed this up? I'm not taking blame for this one. And then the core emotions would be angry, resentment, unfulfilled, and frustrated. And the actions will be resistance, contempt, and distress. Someone with this level 2 energy, while they're going through a job search, they might actually be looking more into the titles than actually the job itself, because they think they're good at what they do. They're better than everyone else. So they're going to choose the job title, even in the job description. In the job description, it tells them that it's not something that they might want to do. In a smaller company, let's just say you apply for a director job in a smaller company, you might have to do a lot of the grunt work. You may have to do a lot of the day-to-day stuff. Whereas if you are applying for a job in a larger organization and is a managerial position, you might think, oh, but the director is so much better than the manager. But when you're looking at the job description, the actual job itself might be actually better, where you're making key decisions. You actually do not have to do the day-to-day, because you're doing things in more of a high level, and that is more suited for you. So if the person was offered both positions, the manager position and the director position, and you choose a director position, guess what? You're going to go into the job and you're going to say, what is this? I didn't sign up for this. But the fact is you did. You signed up for it because in the job description, but you were so attracted to this, shiny director title that you're like, okay, I would rather have the director title than the manager, and then you start getting angry. It's like, I did not sign up for this crap. Why are you making me do all these things? So again, these might be little places that during your transition where these might actually creep in, these kind of thoughts and feelings, creating these actions. And again, what I said before, you don't have to stay here if you don't want to. You don't have to be using this energy if you don't want to. You can move along to the different ones. And if you feel like that serves a purpose to you right now, these two types of energy, and by all means, you can stay there. The whole entire, being awareness is just, it's the most important thing here. Like once I have introduced you to these 7 levels of energy, once you're aware of them, then you can see where you are and where you want to be. And the best thing is you can actually see other people's energy. You can see what kind of energy they're bringing into the situation. And with that, you can figure out how you can respond in accordance to their mood, to their attitude, to their energy. So let's move on to level 3, which is another, well, this is an anabolic energy, which is the one that builds you up, but it's basically sitting at the border of catabolic and anabolic. And the core thoughts would be, what I can't see or don't know won't hurt me. Life is what I make it to be. And people are generally good, but they just don't know any better. And the core emotions are forgiveness and responsible. And the actions are cooperation, compromise, rationalizing, and tolerate. And I feel like a lot of people that are going through a career transition might use this energy going into it, or maybe towards the tail end of it anyways. The reason why I'm saying this is because using the whole job search where you're being ghosted or whatnot, money is important to us. Like I can't say money is not, because we need to eat, we need a place to sleep, we need transportation, whatever it is. We have a lifestyle that we like, and money might be an issue. And sometimes after a few months of not being able to find a job, you might start venturing out to a more broader a field. And you are okay with it because you're thinking, you know what? I'll get something. It seems okay. And if I don't like it, I'll figure out something then. But for now, I need to support my family. I need to support my lifestyle. So I'm going to, apply for something that might not be directly what I want, but I'm going to be okay doing that job. And that's what I mean by, this level is at the border of anabolic and catabolic, because you're able to talk yourself and be responsible for your own actions if it doesn't work out. You're taking responsibility. So it's a really good building up kind of energy. However, it doesn't address the underlying issue. And when you keep doing this, where you're going through this kind of, energy, what you'll do is you'll continue to start looking for different jobs and start rationalizing it and say, yeah, you know what, that's fine. Things happen. And yeah, again, you might not be able to find a job that is suited for you permanently, or at least for a longer period of time. Now let's move on to energy level number 4. This is an anabolic energy, and the core thoughts are, how can I support others? And I want you to succeed, and I'm happy to be part of your success. And the core emotions are compassion, concern, and empathy. And the actions that come along with it is foster collaboration and teamwork, inspire others around you, and offer assistance or service. If you are able to use this attitude to go into your job search, even if you're going into your interview, you will be able to pick up what they're saying or what they're not saying, and you can pick up little hints and say, oh yeah, I think they need more help in this area. I can help them with that. And you can offer that to them. Or when you're researching companies and you're looking them up, or when you're doing a informational interview, that may actually happen. The more you dig into it, the more you're like, oh, I can help you with that because I have all these skill sets and I can help you do this. I can help you do this. I can help you do this. And can you imagine going into an interview to say to others, it's like, I can help you with all these things? Because you, number one, you've done your homework. Number two, you can really see where they're lacking and you can contribute to their success. And so this energy is amazing to have. And I guess I should have said this from the beginning, is that there is no good or bad in any of these energies. And there's always pros and cons with these energies. And one of the cons with, if your default energy is this level 4, which is helping people, sometimes you feel overwhelmed and drained because you're always helping others. And you're always having to do your own stuff and on top of what you're helping others with. And if you don't help yourself with taking care of yourself first, then you might fall into the catabolic energy, which is the level 1 and 2. You might think, oh, why me? Why is that? Like, I just can't deal with this anymore. Or you might go into level 2. It's like, that's enough. Like, enough people asking me for help. Like, I'm only one person. So recognizing what energy you want to use and recognizing what energy you currently have is really going to help you find a way to your own success. And energy level number 5, which another anabolic energy, the core thoughts are, everything in my life has a meaning and purpose, and I want to know what they all mean. And I'm always in control of my life and my perspective of it. And everything always works out for the best, even if you don't see it that way at that time. And the core emotions are contentment, peace, and calm. And the actions are accepting, confident, focus on present and future and not the past. And those who want to use this kind of energy to go into their own job search, they don't fix things, they create things. They don't see problems, there's just the opportunities. So when you are when you're speaking to others, when you're going for interviews and you just saying, I'm good at doing these things. I can see that you have this issue, but if you create something, this is going to actually help you a lot better. Create a system. Why wouldn't you create a system? Just create a system and help your customers. If you have this kind of mindset where you don't see things as a problem, you just see it, oh, I can do something, I can create something to help you. That's when, and it doesn't matter if it fails either. If you are seeing that, oh, so what if it failed? It doesn't mean it's a fail. It just means I can create something else to go with it. So yeah, so if you use this kind of energy to go into your job search, it is something that others can see, and they may actually create a position for you in return. Many times I've heard and have spoken to people where they're like, oh yeah, I actually interviewed for this job, but they created this job for me instead because they liked what I had to say. They liked what the things that I came up with. So don't think that when you're applying for a job, that is the job you're going to get. Just go with the intention of, having solutions or having some sort of creativity where you can help them figure out the thing that they want to do, with, whether it's growing business or fix a problem. So yeah. And the next one will be energy level 6. And that is another anabolic energy. And the core thought is, the purpose of life is to live it and experience it. And we are all a gift and are a gift. And I am open to life's mysteries. Nothing needs to be figured out. And the core emotions are delight and joy. And the actions are wisdom, visionaries who make things happen, and insightful. With this level 6 energy, you focus on the now and not at the goal. You look at what's in front of you and you focus on that. A lot of us, when we have something in mind, what we want to do, we focus on the end results. And level 6 does not do that. They have that in mind, as in, like, yes, that's where I want to go. But when they see where they're going, they can navigate their way through different things and may not even end up to where they want to be. And that's okay with them. And that's when you start creating things. That's when you start seeing things and start manifesting things. And level 7 is the last level in the series of energy. And the core thought will be, there is no good or bad, because these are rules, labels created by us. And I get to write how I want my life to look like. If I don't like it, I can rewrite it. And the emotions are bliss and passion. And the actions are spontaneous manifestation, fulfillment, and fearless. This might sound really funny to you, but someone with level 7 energy might think they don't have a judgment of anything. They don't have a judgment of any professions. You can be the prime minister, you can be a football player, you could be a pianist, you can be a teacher. Any of these jobs to them are as important as the next one. So there is no good or bad. Like they can pick to be a prime minister, which is a very stressful job, and they'll be fine with it. They go, yeah, it helps people. Or they can be a teacher, and they're like, yeah, it's important because it helps people. You educate your kids, and the list goes on. So they don't see that there is any issue with choosing any kind of profession. If someone tells them, hey, do you want a job here? They're like, okay, sure, why not? I don't feel like this is something that most of my clients will go for as much as they want to. It's only because of the inner blocks that we have of ourselves. And because of that, it's hard for us to get to this level 7. And because fearless is one of them. And again, we all have fears. We all go through fears. So this concludes the 7 levels of energy. And I know I've said this before, but I just want to say it again. You will experience these energy at every step of the way. The key here is to be aware and to know when you want to step out of it. I had a client who was going for, who had an interview with a company, and she was about to have a phone call with HR. It was either to tell her that she got the job or she, didn't get the job. And she called me and she's like, I'm so scared. I'm like, why? And then as we're talking a little bit more, she said one thing. And I'm like, oh, the one thing was, I know I should be more positive. I know I should, think positively. And I just stopped her right there. I'm like, no. I'm like, you don't need to be positive at all the time. If at this very moment you need to feel like you're the victim, you've got to feel like, oh, I'm not going to get that job. That's what you're feeling. Then feel it. It's so much harder for you to fight through that feeling, to say, I need to be better. I need to be better. The thing is, you will be better. It's just at this moment, you can't get there because your feelings are raw. So I said to her, stay here until you have your phone call. And then you decide what you want to do. And after she heard me say that she was allowed to be not being so positive, she just went, okay. There was a sigh of relief that she was allowed to. So because she thought that she had to, she was penting up all this energy, trying to feel something that she doesn't. And that is why it's so important to know that you are allowed to have any kind of energy you like. Just know where you're at, how long you want to stay here, and where you want to move. So this is the end of my presentation. And if you need extra resources, my website is clearmindsandlife.com. You can download my Career Clarity Starter Kit, and you can also sign up for my Success Formula workshop. It's currently on waitlist. So just sign up for my waitlist and just head to the website and see what it's about. And yeah, let me know. So thank you for being here today. Do you guys have any questions?
It was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Any questions from anyone for the inner blocks, the energy, or the priorities?
No questions, but I actually wanted to just tell you that, like we did a similar program together, and it felt a little bit like reminiscent because I forgot a lot of the stuff. And it's like, as you were going through the energy levels, I recognized and remembered, literally throughout the day and today, the little moments of like frustration and definitely blame towards, customers that you're just like, oh, yeah. And it's just giving yourself justification for why this person's being stupid or whatever it was. And it kind of took me aback for a moment to be like, wow, I completely forgot about all this stuff and how it really puts you on a downward spiral. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the level 2 energy is in all of us. And, at spurts of moments, you're going to get it. All right. If there are no questions, thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks, Fiona. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.